Welcome to another episode of Explore Škoda podcast. Today's topic is car lights. That's why I welcome development engineer of Headlights, Vilém Holeček. Let there be light. Let's begin. Welcome, Wilda.
Hi, Vash.
Thanks for making time for us. First, tell me what your job in Škoda Auto is.
My job in Škoda Auto is an engineer focused on the project of headlights.
I'd like to know what comes to your mind when I say car lights and Škoda Auto.
Definitely a unique design.
What makes these lights unique?
The design is based on the tradition of Czech glass. We can see this design in the modernized models of Kamiq and Scala.
We are here at the facelifted Scala and Kamiq. What differs them from their predecessors?
With Scala, it's the height of the light. It is lower now. The signature of daytime running lights is also divided. With Kamiq, I'd like to mention the precise, narrow crystals in the upper part of the lights. Thanks to their segmentation, they allow for blinker animation.
Sounds complicated. How many people take part in developing such a light?
That's hard to say. It's a team effort, the construction of car lights. From our department, there's people in optics, electronics, there's people who focus on visualizations. Then there's a team testing the lights, both in the car and in the lab. Then there's overarching work, both project and construction, done by us engineers. Outside of our department, there's people from design, pre-development and FEM specialists. Last but not least, our supplier has a large team that processes our requests.
Wow, that's very extensive, even though it's just light.
Yes.
Since it's so technological demanding, how long does development of a car light take?
Development of car lights is in parallel with the car's development. In the case of a new car, it takes 4 years. Facelifts take half a year less.
Vilda, what is the most technological demanding part of this?
It's the fine-tuning of optical systems in order for them to meet photometric and appearance parameters. It begins with simulations and is then fine-tuned in production technology.
What does a developer have to keep in mind when developing a light?
First, it's the legal requirements of individual markets that the car will be supplied to. Then, you have to take into account technological limits of individual parts, the assembly process of a light itself, and the assembly of light into a car.
What is more difficult to develop, headlights or rear lights?
That's a difficult question for me. I haven't really worked on rear lights. But generally speaking, as far as headlights are concerned, we need to deal with kinematics of internal parts. The lights are also more complicated in regard to building space. We need to take into account multiple different engines. So based on this, I'd say that the construction of headlights is more demanding.
When looking at the new Scala, the headlights are a lot smaller than those on the previous model. I always thought that larger lights shine brighter. How does this work? How come this headlight is better than the previous one?
Technology is always changing and advancing. Even smaller light sources or light areas are capable of providing more power than the models that are currently being used. So these headlights look great and perform great as well.
Well, luckily, because that looks great and it shines better, you say. We stand next to a facelifted Kamiq. Its headlights are divided into 4 segments. Why is this? Why is it divided into 4 segments?
Basically, with this headlight, it connects to this car's predecessor. The advantage of this division is that this is our only headlight that is able to create an animated blinker.
These are called LED matrix headlights, right?
Yes.
What are the most crucial functions?
Most crucial, it's a bifunctional module that consists of dipped beam and full beam. Full beam is based on matrix light technology. This is the first time it's being used in this class of a vehicle. Thanks to this, we're able to create light segmentation using 8 segments.
What is this matrix light technology? I don't know what that is.
It's a masking technology that is used during the night. When driving the car, you can use full beam. And if the car or its cam detects an oncoming vehicle or a vehicle in front of you, it starts to mask these elements on the road.
So I don't have to turn off full beam. Let's say the light avoids the oncoming car.
Exactly. And it's automated.
So that was Škoda Kamiq. Now let's talk about Škoda Scala. There the design of headlight is different. Do they function in the same way or are they different?
In regard to the main function, the matrix modules that were used are the same. The rest is different though. Scala is specific by the low height of its headlights. Its signature of signal functions is atypical, but significant. This gives the headlight a dynamic look.
Looking at Škoda Kamiq and Škoda Scala, I can see the design of headlight is different. There are 2 lights here, Scala has 1. Is there a reason for that?
Not a functional one, it's just a question of design. With Scala, you can see a beautiful narrow design light, while Kamiq has 1 large headlight that is divided by the bumper line.
One more question. With these newest lights, as a user, I don't need to do any adjustment, right? They are perfect as they are. Those who have used these lights know they shine incredibly. But as a user, I don't need to adjust anything. Everything is ready, right?
Exactly. Everything is adjusted during production and development. The parameterized sets for these high versions of headlights. The user or the driver can just enjoy driving at night.
One more thing, Wilda. Are there any legislative requirements for the headlights?
Definitely. During development, we need to keep in mind legislative requirements of all countries the cars are supplied to. There are regulations that the functions must adhere to.
Wilda, let's move away from technical details. I ask this question often. How long have you been working for Škoda Auto? How did you start?
I've been working here for over 20 years. This opportunity was brought to my attention by a friend and now a colleague. I'm very grateful for this opportunity. I enjoy seeing the results of my work on the roads or in the media. This often reminds me of a story from development where we dealt with something tricky.
And that brings me to another question. Was there something over the years, or even on these slides, that you were afraid of, scared of, but what ended up in you saying, we've managed? Have you had such a difficult task?
Definitely. It had to do with my work on Scala. We were instructed to make the signature of daytime running lights undivided, continuously under the hood. But then this was changed, and we had to make the design in a way that you can see right now. This was a challenge because of construction and the optical system. But in the end, we managed, and the lights look nice.
Yeah, I really like the fact that the lights is divided.
Yes, it's very original.
What do you personally like about the new lights best, either with Kamiq or Scala?
I really like the signature of signal functions on both models. These original elements reinvigorate the car's design.
Wilda, we've mentioned the technical and design functions, but are there any more functions of these lights?
Yes, there's also assistant functions. The assistant functions of lights improve the comfort and safety of the car's occupants. For example, there's coming home and leaving home functions. These illuminate the surrounding area when entering and exiting the car. Another one is the light assist that can identify that the car has entered a tunnel. Then it lights up a dipped beam. There's also high beam assist that automatically switches between full and dipped beam.
One more thing. How can the car identify that I've entered a tunnel? There's a light in the tunnel, so how does this work?
The fact that the light conditions have changed can be identified by the car thanks to a sensor in the base of an interior mirror. This sensor evaluates light conditions and automatically switches from daytime running lights to dipped beam. This activates within 2 seconds.
Basically, these are great smart cars. Speaking of additional functions, I read or heard about a so-called tourist mode. Could you specify what this is? I don't know what to picture.
If a car was used in a place different than intended, the oncoming cars would be blinded by the lights. To prevent this, we use tourist mode. Once activated, the front lenses will be moved down, which in turn limits the reach of light. This function can be activated in infotainment by the driver. The activation is instant.
So when I travel to England, where they drive on the other side of the road, I won't blind oncoming cars.
Exactly.
That's smart.
Yes, and it's automated, so you don't have to do anything manually like in the past.
In the past, I had to do something when traveling to England. I had to adjust the lights manually.
Yes, this obligation is still in effect. Nowadays, it's automated. In the past, the driver had to, when crossing the border, adjust the headlights. They had to open the hood, open the headlight cover, and adjust the shutter to crop out the headlight wedge and to prevent other cars on the road from being blinded.
I have to say I had no idea this was a thing. Now I know that next time I travel to England, I will turn on tourist mode and be okay.
You're welcome.
Wilda, can you describe how a light is tested? What happens before a car with such a light can be put into service?
We have various tests. We have to do a lot of tests before we can send the light into production. Lights are tested in our supplier's lab during the whole development. We also do some tests with the lights, but we only do the most important ones. We test the lights in a lab as well as in the car itself. The lights have to comply with the requirements, be it conditions beyond the Arctic Circle or a scorching hot desert. The lights have to manage even under these conditions. Furthermore, our cars are tested at test tracks, where we do intensive and long-term tests to check their lifetime. And since we focus on light, we have night tests too. In these tests, we evaluate the compliance with light parameters that were set in development. These can include width, afterglow, or uniformity of light. With the more sophisticated systems, we also fine-tune the parameters during the night in order to ensure good functionality of matrix or AFS systems.
This sounds interesting. You mentioned Arctic and desert conditions. Do you simulate these conditions during the tests?
Of course, there's some lab tests in climate chambers. There it alternates between high and low temperatures. So basically, yes, this is true. Both in a lab and in the car, the lights take a beating.
That's very interesting. One more thing. I had the pleasure of driving a model with such a light, and I have to say the light is fantastic. You can see everything. Can this even be improved? Do you know about current upcoming trends?
As for the upcoming trends in lights, I can mention HD technologies, which are characterized by having 35,000 or more pixels. This technology also allows to show safety signals in front of the car. Another trend is projecting the blinker onto the road. And there's currently a big focus on illuminating the front logos.
So it's possible in the future the headlights can project a traffic sign on the road in front of me?
Exactly. It will alert you to ice on the road or to the fact that a car is overtaking you. So you can expect the system to provide assistance in this way.
Awesome. Terrific. One last thing, Wilda. Do you have something spicy or interesting or something you're proud of from over 20 years in Škoda Auto?
We spoke about LED headlights, and I was really pleased back then that I was part of the team working on the first LED headlight. For the second generation Octavia RS, we applied a headlight into a bumper, which drove the technology forward.
Excellent. I really enjoyed it today. It's unreal what development entails, even if it's just a small light. It was interesting. I'm happy you made time for me and the viewers, and thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a nice day. And that's all from today's episode. I will be pleased if you can like, subscribe and follow, and I will look forward to see you next time.